Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot Media. Opposition spokesman on national security Peter Bunting has indicated that the parliamentary opposition is prepared to collaborate with the government to formulate a joint plan for dealing with the country's worsening crime problem. Mr. Bunting declared that he is willing to contribute to such an effort based on the worrying crime levels. Both parties have attempted in the past to collaborate on the issue of crime through the Vale Royal talks. The talks have halted, but Mr. Bunting says that the issue is too big to ignore at this time. Mr. Bunting asserts that even if the government does not take the initiative, if the People's National Party forms the next government, it would be an option.
We are prepared to do that. If we jointly come up with a plan that we, PNP, JLP, or government, opposition, stakeholder group, wider stakeholder group in the society, we are prepared to hold to that. And in fact, in all fairness, the original Vale Royal talks had been around taking crime out of the sort of, partisan political arena and trying to, not make it an issue around which you try to score political points.
And the bloodletting across the country has resulted in more than 1,000 Jamaicans being murdered since January. Statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force indicate that 1,007 Jamaicans have been killed. The figure represents a 24% increase over the corresponding period last year when it was at 809. And data obtained by TVJ News show that more than 140 persons have been murdered so far this month. Clarendon, which is now confronted with gang violence, has recorded 25 murders since August 1. 105 murders have occurred in Clarendon since January, compared with 93 during the corresponding period last year. However, St. James continues to lead with homicides. There were 191 murders in the parish up to yesterday. The St. Andrews South Division with 92 murders, Westmoreland also with 92, and St. Catherine North 82 were the other police divisions with an increase in murders. The troubled divisions are St. Catherine South with 68 murders, followed by Kingston Western with 65 and Hanover with 45. St. Anne, Kingston Central, East Kingston and St. Andrew North also grapple with an increase in murders. Most of the murders occurred over the past 4 months. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is in Chile for a one-day working visit. He will meet with the country's President Michelle Bachelet to enhance bilateral cooperation between the two countries. He will also explore other areas of concern, including tourism and business development, during meetings with sector officials at the National Chamber of Commerce and Tourism of Chile. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Dr. Horace Chang, is in charge of the government during the Prime Minister's absence. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, has submitted a budget of $80 million as it prepares to conduct 3 by-elections. Director of Elections, Orrit Fisher, told our news center that the budget has been sent to the Ministry of Finance. He gave a breakdown of the amount to be spent in each constituency when the by-elections are called.
St. Andrews Southwest is somewhere in the region of 24.9 million, and St. Andrews Southern somewhere in the region of 23.6, and St. Mary Southeast is about $31.6 million or somewhere in that ballpark. It includes the remuneration for the people who will work in the election. It also includes the whatever transportation we will need, rental of properties, public utilities, and any other goods and services that we will require.
The St. Andrews Southwestern and St. Andrews Southern seats became vacant following the resignation of Portia Simpson-Miller and Dr. Omar Davies on June 29. St. Mary's Southeastern was left without a Member of Parliament following the death of Dr. Winston Green on August 14. In the meantime, no decision has been made whether to use the electronic voting system in the by-elections.
We are still at the point of making that decision because we have constituencies where we use the EVIS in the general election. None of these constituencies were ones where we had used it. So we are now looking at the possibility of using the system in these constituencies, but a decision has not yet been made because it will require some amount of infrastructure work, especially in St. Mary, to make sure that the polling stations are able to accommodate the system. So that is currently under review.
With the new school year approaching, the Ministry of Education says it's in the process of making adjustments to the way educational institutions are funded. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says the government has adopted a non-obligatory policy towards the payment of parents' contribution. Parents can, however, make contributions to schools once an agreement is or has been reached and approved by the Board of Governors. Mr. Reid was speaking at the JIS think tank session on Monday. He says it is a breach of the policy to force parents to make contributions. He added that the government's remit is to fund or to provide funding for the core comprehensive educational services being provided for students.
$37,699,624,361 on secondary education, which includes salaries, grants to include TVET, ICT, SANS, infrastructure, part-time teachers, furniture, and nutrition. That means we're actually spending between $176,994 and $190,000 per student at the secondary level.
He said that the government will honor its commitment to increase funding to primary, all-age and junior high schools for the 2017-2018 academic year. The increase will see an operational budget of $1 billion, excluding salaries. Education is the greatest equalizer in the world. That's according to opposition spokesman on youth, Lisa Hannah. She was speaking at Victoria Mutual's Head Start Scholarship Program Awards ceremony recently. The VMBS awarded 59 students from the primary to tertiary level with scholarships. Ms. Hannah spoke about the importance of education to the society.
How you look, how much money you have, whether you're big, short, tall, fat, it puts you on equal footing as people. What it does is it equalizes and it rebalances everything in society, because knowledge does that. Now, if you mix that up with a little confidence and self-esteem, you're not only considered bright, all on is bright picnic, but you're heralded as intelligent.
Ms. Hannah noted that while education provides knowledge, it's how we apply this knowledge that shows how educated we are. She added that using what is learned to solve problems is the application of knowledge. Ms. Hannah also encouraged awardees to secure integrity.
It's to be honest and truthful and to never lose your self-respect. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. If you don't have any principles to use that knowledge, you're going to go in the wrong place at the wrong time and end up in trouble.
Meanwhile, over 600 children benefited from a back-to-school treat in Hanover recently. They received school bags and vouchers valued at $1,500 each.
We've targeted primarily the inner city communities. It's back to school, and generally the burden is heavy on parents, especially in those communities. So we brought together children from all over the constituency, one to have some fun before they go back to school.
And the time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, one cancer survivor is advising females to get their pap smear check regularly.
Start to eat plenty pure whole wheat, rice, bread, flour, everything. We cut off all grease, meat, and such delight. So I drink like Guinean and meringue, and those things were good for the cancer cell. So I drink them.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip, which is related to cervical cancer. Schedule regular appointments for pap smear testing. Quit smoking and do your best to avoid coming in contact with secondhand smoke. Practice safe sex. Get the HPV vaccination, that is, the human papilloma virus.
We go now to international news. Tropical storm Harvey, which devastated Texas, made a second landfall this morning near the Louisiana-Texas border. 11 people have been killed so far. We go to the CNN for more details.
We just got an update from the National Hurricane Center. Harvey has made landfall again as a tropical storm, but it is continuing to pick up that moisture, deep moisture from within the Gulf of Mexico. And I have seen, the other point I wanted to make is I've seen a number of tweets coming out of the Port Arthur area. That is generally in this vicinity, Beaumont, Port Arthur. A number of people reporting very heavy rainfall there. They set a record rainfall total for the day in Beaumont that was roughly 18 inches of rain. 3-day totals unofficially saying about 40 inches of rain. So this is one of the areas that hasn't really been talked about a lot, but all day long they were in heavy, deep convection, deep tropical moisture. And right now, right along that I-10 corridor between Beaumont and Orange, that's where we're looking at some of the heaviest bands. It came ashore, Tropical Storm Harvey came ashore in the vicinity of Cameron, but pretty much the entire coast of Louisiana is expecting a storm surge of between 1 and 3 feet, maybe as much as 2 to 4 feet, but it is going to move more quickly. Harvey is going to pick up its speed, drop a lot of that moisture off right along the Arklatex region, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas. We could see substantial rainfall amounts there as well. Then trekking across the Tennessee River Valley, weakening maybe later today or going into early on Thursday morning.
And we go now to sports. A top 2 spot will be on offer when the Jamaica Tallowers take on the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in the CPL at Sabina Park today. Renardo Brown has the preview.
Twice this season, the Jamaica Tallowers have conceded over 200 runs. On Saturday against the Trinbago Knight Riders and earlier against the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots.
The last 2 games or so we go for over 200 runs. It's not a case of bad bowling or 2 games make you a bad bowling team. I mean, we won games with the bowling already, so it's just a matter of us to just stick our heads together, come back as a strong bowling unit.
But with home advantage, things are expected to be different on Wednesday night at Sabina Park.
Every game's a huge game. It's all every game from the first game to the last game is massive. You know, our aim is to win 2 more games, reach second place, and have an easier route in the playoffs. So yeah, a big game. You know, these guys are full of confidence as well, which is great. But you know, be aware of the wounded animal.
Chris Gale and Evan Lewis took to the Tallowers bowlers in the last contest, and the Jamaican opener is hoping he can once again come up trumps for his new franchise.
It's an important game for both teams, and you know, I think it's you know, these 2 points will actually be vital for both of us. You know, we win this one, I'm sure we'll actually definitely be in the top 2. And you know, Jamaica still have a chance to actually be in the top 2 as well. So it's going to be a key game for both teams.
The Patriots are a point above the Tallowers on the table, and with 2 games to go before the playoffs, Wednesday's contest can almost be seen as a final.
Definitely, this is a crucial match. We're always looking to improve our position, so being in the top 2, we'll get 2 bites of the cherry going into the qualifiers, so we're looking to win this match definitely.
The Tallowers have proven this season that they are capable of scoring big runs, with a few of their top players rounding into form at a crucial time.
Once we bowl well, once we get them down to 190, 180, I think that score is gettable. We can get it because, as you can see, so batting very well, so it's just a bowling out to just come and...
Both the teams are keeping their cards close to their chest, but after conceding 208 runs on Saturday, the Tallowers are more likely to shuffle their deck.
You know, Lewis and Chris, they've struggled a little bit in the past with spin, so could be an option. O'Shane Thomas has been bowling beautifully in the middle. He had a bit of a hip injury a few weeks ago. He's come good now. So, you know, we'll have a look at those.
The Patriots, though, are gambling on conditions before holding or folding.
But our spinners have done really well for us, so we will tread with caution and make sure that we see the wicket first and then make a decision.
The match is set to start at 6 p.m. with live coverage on TVJ Sports Network. Renardo Brown for TVJ Sports.
And that wraps up the midday news. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for Prime Time News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.